Hey everyone, it's NHL Hockey News Reports. We're back in the video, and today we're talking about where could Vladislav Gavrikov be traded to? Vladislav Gavrikov has been a good, solid defenseman for the last 3-4 years in the National Hockey League. Obviously, he has been with Columbus his whole career, and now Columbus, a team that was supposed to be very good this season, find themselves disappointing. Injuries, a lot of injuries this season, and a team that didn't perform like they were supposed to. They got the big fish in the free agency with Johnny Gaudreau, thinking, hey, let's have another really good, let's try to contend for a wild card spot, and that definitely didn't happen. But now they're looking at the trade deadline. Connor Bedard sweepstakes there when they're trying to get number one first overall pick there, and Connor Bedard are close to it with Fantelli and Michkov and Leo Carlson and some other really good pickups there. You have a lot of injured players this year. You think of Voracek, concussion now, Gustav Nyquist, Jake Beans, Danford, Chinikov, Mayo now, so you have some guys out there, and Zach Werenski's on long-term injury reserve. If you think of a couple right there, So, someone that they could trade. Has 2.8 million. Is his contract. He's a left defenseman, and he can play anywhere on your defense. He's been drafted by the Columbus Blue Jackets in the 6th round of 2015, and he's just a solid defenseman. He signed that 3-year deal with Columbus, and now 10 points in 52 games, -8, but he's a solid defenseman to have in your top four. Top four, or if you're more of a contender who has a better defense core, more on the third pairing, either top four or third pairing. Hey, if someone gets injured, you can just slot them in the top four there, you're good. So let me show you some teams that he could go to. Some interesting ones for sure I thought about. As you just give me just a second here to pull it up. But Gavrikov is a solid pickup here. He really is. He is definitely the guy that I would go for sure. So here we go. Gavrikov, here's some teams here. Jacob Kitchen obviously is the number one fish out there as a defenseman. Now you look at Gavrikov, you can't go for Jacob Kitchen, maybe it's too much. Gavrikov could be a little bit more affordable. Here's some teams. I picked 6 teams that Vladislav Gavrikov can go to. Boston Bruins, Edmonton Oilers, Seattle Kraken, Los Angeles Kings, Winnipeg Jets, and the Carolina Hurricanes. Starting off with Boston, they already have a very good team. There's not much to change really whatsoever. There isn't anything to change though. But if they want to add a little depth, that's not bad at all. Why not add a little depth? Don't take anything off your roster, but add to your roster. And Gavrikov to add to the defense. Last year they added Hampus Lindholm, and this year he's been fantastic. They come from the Ducks. If they can get Gavrikov, that would be very solid for them too. Knowing they're in win now mode and trying to win the Stanley Cup. But the Vezina Trophy, not Vezina, President's Trophy team so far, the favorites of that. So we'll see what happens for that. But Gavrikov will be a very solid pickup. The Bruins have been rumored between trying to pick up Jacob Kitchen. They also talked about Vladislav Gavrikov, some guys out there that they've been looking at. But Gavrikov definitely could be an interesting team that he could go to very soon, since he's been held out of the team from playing for trade reasons. Moving on to the Edmonton Oilers, they could use some defense for sure. He would definitely be used a lot in the top 4 here for the Edmonton Oilers. Last year they picked up Kulak. This year he's having a really good season actually. I think he's got like 17 points. He's been really solid. Having Gavrikov will also be another guy that add to that blue line that could use some, shutdown defense and really help him out, blocking the pucks and really trying to get the defense correct. To get the goals out the back of the net and let McDavid and Draisaitl score and let them win the game. So, things like that for the playoffs too. We'll see what happens for sure. Then move on to Seattle. Seattle, this is the second year in the NHL. Seattle, it was the first time contending for a playoff spot and being really good. They have Matty Beniers, rookie this year. Probably get him in the cold. It was the best rookie of the year. But you know, you have Benio's, you have Bulkowski they signed. They have a bunch of guys they have now playing really solid hockey. And the Kraken are a solid team. If they add Gavrikov just to have more of a shutdown presence, even though the defense is really solid, adding even more would be amazing for them for sure. Just another rental at the deadline that they could just, well, not another one. This is kind of like the first time doing this, so they can just add them in, and that could really help the playoff hopes for sure to do something special in the playoffs, you know? Moving on to the LA Kings, you know, they've been a lot about Jacob Kitchen going to the LA Kings, but, you know, they've been rumored that Brian Clark, the top prospect on defense, the right defenseman now, will go to the Coyotes, and it sounds like no, that's not going to happen. So, you know, everything kind of stalled after that. You know, like, oh, maybe Kitchen's not going to the Kings, but yes, he might land there eventually. So what if they don't go for Jacob Kitchen? And he's like, all right, let's see, Boston picked him up or something. Kavikov will still be a solid pickup, you know, even though he's a rental. Or you can still sign him at the, you know, he's gonna be a UFA at the end of the year. 27-year-old, but he can be a solid pickup there for sure. Moving on now to the Jets. You know, the Jets have had a solid season. As of late, struggled lately. They could always use some defense. You know, add Kavikov would be a solid defenseman. Just to add in that, they could use a top 9 guy. A lot of talk about Timo Meyer to the Jets. If they get Timo Meyer, definitely not going after Kavikov because you won't have any assets to give up, you know. But we'll see what happens. If you know, Kavikov would be a solid fit for the Jets to add to the blue line to really get them a good solid blue line. Even though they've been better with Rick Bowness being that defensive coach, basically he has that defensive minded idea of as the head coach. So we'll see what happens here for sure. And Carolina also, you know, Pacioretty re-injured his Achilles you know, heel there, and he's gonna be out again. Who knows how long? Indefinitely with, you know, last year on his deal of 7 million. So they have 7 million to work with, you know. So this is 2.8. If they want to still retain some money, there you go. You could. Kavikov you can bring in, you can, you know, the Hurricanes can bring in, like, for example, like maybe like Patrick Kane, or if he's going somewhere, I don't know if he is or not, or Timo Meyer, and they can still bring in someone and also have Kavikov come in, depending on how much Kavikov is, though. You know, if he's a second round pick, if he's a late first round pick, is he, you know, what do we have here? What are we looking at Kavikov? You know, I think he can get a first or late first round pick for Gavrikov would be interesting. They could. That's what I think could possibly happen. But we'll see what happens to Gavrikov. Definitely intriguing defenseman that someone could pick up for sure. I would definitely want to pick him up. You know, add him and go for a playoff run for sure. So let me know your thoughts on this. Which one of those teams you think would be best idea? I think the Jets would be an interesting one, though. That would be a sneaky one. The Bruins definitely, if they don't go for Kitchen. Same thing with the Kings. If they don't go for Kitchen, either one of them, definitely Kavakov would be the second one that they would pick up. Maybe that transaction are waiting for that. You know, maybe they're waiting for Kitchen to be traded and then like, hey, we'll go after Kavakov. Whoever didn't get Jacob Kitchen for sure. So we'll see what happens. Be interesting. I looked at other teams. I'm like, you know, I know I have 2 from the East and the other ones are from the West, the 4 from the West. But still, you know, we'll see what happens for sure. And, you know, we'll see what happens with Vladislav Kavikov. So thanks for watching. See you next video. Bye.